Check it out,
Hey,
man.
how much this going for?
24,000.
24,000?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no, son. Wait.
Man, he giving me a deal, man. They usually go for like 50K.
Y'all know I fresh on from jail. Let's show you how you doing it. Maybach. You see that? Huh? You see the Maybach? Come here, man. Ferrari, man. You see that? Everything rose gold like that motherfucking. You see me? Everything rose gold, nigga. Everything. Everything rose gold. Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck going on? Everything rose gold. You hear me?
All this shit, man. We don't play fair, man.
The Ferrari.
We do not play fair, man. You niggas in trouble, man.
October.
Man, I was flooded with millions of dollars from the time I was 16.
From NBA YoungBoy's real-life tank to Pooh Shiesty's insane lineup of cars he may never get to drive again, plus collections from Young Dolph, FunnyMike, Glock, and more, these rappers didn't just buy wild whips. They built collections worth more money than most people will ever touch in their lives. Today, we're breaking down the craziest and most expensive car collections in rap car by car. Who dropped the biggest bag, what they're driving, and why these rides matter so much in the culture. Real quick before we jump in, hit subscribe because this video is definitely worth it. Let's get into it. NBA YoungBoy is back and he's clearly not easing up anytime soon. After everything he's faced, the man's still out in the mountains of Utah living like rap royalty. And when I say royalty, I mean exactly that. This dude's garage is packed with vehicles that'll make your jaw hit the floor faster than one of his surprise album drops. We're talking pink Bentleys, demon-level muscle cars, off-road Lamborghinis, and yes, an actual civilian super tank. Yeah, you heard that correctly, a tank. Today we're ranking every ride in NBA YoungBoy's multi-million-dollar 2026 car collection starting at number 10 all the way to the craziest vehicle in the lineup. And trust me, you're going to want to stay for number 1 because it's absolutely ridiculous. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 10, we got a ride that definitely grabs attention, just maybe not in the way YoungBoy planned. The pink Bentley Bentayga. Yeah, pink. Not burgundy, not pearl white, not even a luxury cream tone. We're talking full-on Barbie pink cruising through Utah like it owns the streets. Now don't get it twisted, the Bentayga itself is serious business. Under the hood, it's packing a W12 engine, meaning 12 cylinders of pure British luxury and performance. This is a 6-figure SUV with all-wheel drive, so it can actually survive those brutal Utah winters when the snow starts stacking up. Inside, you've got hand-stitched leather, premium wood trim, and enough tech to make your phone feel outdated. But here's the thing. It's aggressively pink. This honestly feels like something one of his baby mamas picked out during a shopping spree and he just decided to keep anyway. The Bentayga is supposed to give old money luxury and elegant billionaire energy. But in this color, it's giving more suburban lottery winner than rap superstar. Now don't get me wrong, it's still a Bentley. It still costs more than most people's homes. And yeah, it glides down the highway like you're floating on a cloud made of cash. But compared to the monsters sitting in the rest of his garage, this is probably the one you leave parked when it's time to really flex. 10th place for the pink Bentayga. Luxurious, but not legendary. Ranking number 9. Sliding into number 9, we got something that matches NBA YoungBoy's energy way more than that pink Bentley ever could, the red SRT Demon. And not just any challenger. The Demon. The absolute psychopath of American muscle cars. Let me break this down real quick. This beast is pushing 1,025 horsepower from a supercharged V8 engine. No, that's not exaggerated. Over 1,000 horses ready to send you into another dimension. We're talking 0 to 60 inches under 2 seconds. That's faster than most people can even react. This thing doesn't drive, it launches. It comes with launch control, drag radials, and leaves the factory fully prepared to embarrass supercars costing triple the price. Dodge literally built the Demon for one reason: domination. It's loud, violent, aggressive, and that V8 rumble will wake up an entire neighborhood before sunrise. This isn't the kind of car you casually cruise in. You unleash this thing. But here's the downside. The Demon basically hates anything that isn't a straight road. Curves? Problematic. Snow and ice? Absolutely dangerous. This car was made for drag strips, warm weather, and clean pavement. Put this thing on an icy Utah mountain road and you're sliding sideways before you know it. Still, you can't ignore what this car represents. It's unapologetic American muscle, pure chaos on 4 wheels, and honestly, it fits YoungBoy's unpredictable energy perfectly. It's basically a giant middle finger to public opinion. 9th place for the Demon. A monster with limits. Ranking number 8. At number 8, we're stepping into Italian luxury with the dark gray Lamborghini Urus S, and this is where the collection starts getting serious. The Urus S is Lamborghini's answer to the luxury SUV game, and trust me, they didn't come to play around. This thing packs 657 horsepower from a twin-turbo V8 engine. That's more power than a lot of supercars had not even that long ago, except now it's sitting inside an SUV. The all-wheel drive system is smart and aggressive, meaning it can handle pretty much anything: rain, snow, rough roads, whatever. The Urus doesn't care. It's going to grip and fly through it all. And the dark gray color YoungBoy picked? That's pure villain energy. It's not loud or flashy, but the second it pulls up, everybody notices. It's got that murdered out look that says, "Yeah, I'm rich, but don't play with me." Inside, you get the full Lamborghini treatment. Carbon fiber everywhere, giant digital screens and racing seats designed to keep you locked in at ridiculous speeds. Because honestly, that's exactly what this thing was built for. The only reason this doesn't rank higher is simple. Everybody in rap has one now. Drake has one. Travis Scott has one. Your favorite rapper probably owns one too. The Urus became the industry standard luxury SUV, and that takes away some of the exclusivity. But make no mistake, this thing is still a beast. It's practical enough for everyday driving, luxurious enough to impress anybody, and quick enough to smoke sports cars at stoplights. And for Utah weather, probably one of the smartest vehicles in his collection. 8th place for the Urus S. Elite, just not rare enough to go higher. Ranking number 7. At number 7, we got something that looks like it was designed by NASA and wrapped by outer space itself, the McLaren 600LT with the Galaxy wrap. This thing is straight up artwork on wheels. The 600LT is McLaren's long-tail version of the 570S, meaning it's lighter, faster, and way more track-focused than the standard model. It's pushing 592 horsepower from a twin-turbo V8 mounted right behind your head. And the exhaust exits from the top of the car near your ears, so every pop, crackle, and explosion from the engine sounds insane. It's basically mechanical violence turned into music. Now let's talk about that wrap. Galaxy print everywhere. Purple, blue, pink stars, cosmic effects, the whole thing looks like it belongs in another solar system. This car doesn't even need to move for people to start recording it. It's basically a rolling Instagram reel. McLarens are famous for insane handling, and the 600LT is no exception. It's lightweight, razor sharp, and corners like it can read your mind. The steering is so precise you could probably thread a needle with this thing at triple-digit speeds. But here's the issue. This is not a practical car whatsoever. It sits insanely low, meaning speed bumps become enemies. The suspension is stiff enough to make you feel every crack in the road. And in Utah weather with snow and rough roads? Forget about it. This thing is a garage queen. This is the car you bring out during perfect summer weather when you want all eyes on you. It's a McLaren, so respect automatically comes with it, and that Galaxy wrap makes it stand out even more. But realistically, it's not built for the environment YoungBoy lives in. 7th place for the 600LT. Beautiful loud, but definitely not practical. Ranking number 6. At number 6, we got another Lamborghini, except this one screams for attention harder than all the others combined. The bright green Lamborghini Huracan STO. And when I say bright green, I mean this thing practically glows in traffic. You could probably spot it from orbit. STO stands for Super Trofeo Omologata, which basically translates to Lamborghini, saying, "We turned our race car into a street car." This is one of the most track-focused Huracans ever made. Lamborghini stripped out unnecessary weight to make it lighter, faster, and sharper than the regular version. Under the hood, you're getting a naturally aspirated V10 engine. No turbochargers, no fake sound. Just raw engine noise screaming all the way to 8,500 revolutions per minute. Honestly, it's one of the greatest sounding engines ever created. Start this thing up and alarms go off, dogs start barking, babies start crying. It's that ridiculous. The STO is rear-wheel drive too, which makes it insanely fun if you know how to handle it. But it also means snow and rain can turn this thing into a nightmare real quick. This car wants warm pavement, clear skies, and room to move. And that green paint? Pure chaos. It looks like it runs on energy drinks instead of gas. Loud, aggressive, impossible to ignore. There's no such thing as being low-key in this car. The STO is one of the most exciting Lamborghinis ever built, but Utah winters definitely aren't ideal for it, and even for YoungBoy, that color might be doing a little too much. Still, the presence is undeniable. 6th place for the Huracan STO. Wild, but there's crazier stuff ahead. Mid-roll value add context break. Before we jump into the top 5, here's why these rankings matter so much for somebody living where NBA YoungBoy lives. Utah isn't exactly the easiest place to own a supercar collection. Salt Lake City and the surrounding mountain areas deal with brutal weather conditions year-round. Winter out there is serious. Some canyon areas get over 500 inches of snow every year. That's over 40 feet of snow. Roads get icy, steep, and dangerous fast if your vehicle isn't built for it. Most supercars are designed for perfect roads and sunny weather. They sit low, ride stiff, and a lot of them are rear-wheel drive. That combination is terrible once snow and black ice enter the conversation. So when you rank a collection in Utah, you can't just focus on horsepower and price tags. You have to ask if the car can actually survive the environment, or if it's going to spend most of the year parked in the garage. That's why some of these next vehicles rank way higher than you'd expect. Because YoungBoy didn't only buy cars to flex. He bought rides that actually work in the mountains too. Now let's get back into it. Ranking number 5. Now we're getting serious. At number 5, we got the camo-wrapped Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato. And this right here is proof YoungBoy was thinking beyond Instagram photos. He actually bought something that fits his lifestyle. The Sterrato is Lamborghini asking a question nobody thought to ask. What happens if you turn a supercar into an off-road machine? Somehow they made it work. This thing sits higher than a normal Huracan thanks to a lifted suspension setup. It's got off-road tires for extra grip plus skid plates underneath to protect the car from rocks and rough terrain. This is literally a Lamborghini that can handle dirt, roads, gravel, and even snow. That camo wrap fits perfectly too. Instead of screaming for attention, it almost looks tactical like a military supercar built for the wilderness. It's giving Special Forces Lamborghini energy. And underneath all that off-road gear, you still get a V10 engine with over 600 horsepower. So yeah, it's still fast. It still sounds insane. But now it can go places regular supercars would never survive. Mountain trails, snowy back roads, rough terrain, the Sterrato can actually handle it. Honestly, this might be one of the smartest purchases in his whole collection. Lamborghini only made a limited number of them, so it's rare. It works perfectly for Utah weather. And it still delivers that exotic supercar flex. 5th place for the Sterrato. This is where intelligence meets horsepower. Ranking number 4. At number 4, we're entering full tank territory, almost literally. The blacked out Brabus Mercedes G. 63 4x4 squared, customized by Platinum Motorsport. This thing is an absolute monster. Let's start with the base vehicle, the Mercedes G-Wagon. Already one of the toughest luxury SUVs on earth. Then Mercedes created the 4x4 squared version, lifted it higher, added portal axles for insane ground clearance, slapped on huge off-road tires, and basically made it unstoppable. Then Brabus stepped in. Brabus is famous for taking already insane Mercedes vehicles and turning them into complete monsters. More horsepower, crazier styling, louder exhausts, more everything. And just to make sure this one looked absolutely menacing, Platinum Motorsports blacked out everything. Paint wheels, trim windows, all murdered out. This thing looks like it belongs in a classified military convoy. Basically, Darth Vader's SUV. The 4x4 squared sits so high you practically need a ladder just to climb inside. But that insane height means it can drive over almost anything. Snow piles? Easy. Rocks? No issue. Fallen trees? Just keep rolling. This thing was built to dominate whatever terrain you throw at it. Inside though, you're still getting full Mercedes luxury treatment. Heated and cooled seats, a premium sound system, and every piece of tech you could ask for. But the energy inside this SUV feels different. This isn't something you pull up to brunch in. This is a vehicle made to send a message. When this thing arrives, people naturally clear the way. For Utah's brutal winters and mountain roads, this might honestly be the most useful vehicle in the whole collection. It's luxurious, insanely capable, and intimidating as hell. 4th place for the Brabus G 634 X4 squared. This is what happens when luxury meets military-level toughness. Ranking number 3. Now we're entering serious territory. At number 3, we got pure luxury and elegance, the Rolls-Royce Phantom with the custom light green interior. This right here is the absolute peak of automotive luxury. It doesn't get more expensive, exclusive, or prestigious than a Phantom. The Phantom isn't just transportation. It's proof you reach the top level. This is what billionaires, royalty, and world leaders ride in. The base price alone starts above $500,000, and that's before customization. And trust me, YoungBoy customized this one heavily. That light green interior? You're not pulling that from a basic catalog. That's bespoke work. Rolls-Royce craftsmen literally hand-stitch every piece of leather to match your exact vision. The wood trim is real wood, sourced from specific trees and finished completely by hand. Then you got the Starlight headliner with hundreds of tiny lights built into the roof, so it looks like you're driving under the night sky. Under the hood sits a V12 engine, but the crazy part is you barely even hear it. The cabin is so quiet that Rolls-Royce engineers once said the loudest sound inside the Phantom is the clock ticking. That's how insulated this thing is. The ride quality is so smooth you could probably balance a champagne glass on the dashboard without spilling a drop. Now, technically the Phantom being rear-wheel drive isn't ideal for heavy snow, but Rolls-Royce packs these cars with every winter-ready feature imaginable. Heated everything advanced, traction systems honestly, when you're inside, a Phantom weather stops mattering. The only thing that matters is arriving in style. This is the car YoungBoy steps into when he wants everybody to remember he's not just a rapper anymore, he's moving like a mogul. This is generational wealth on wheels. 3rd place for the Phantom. Elegance in its purest form. Ranking number 2. Coming in at number 2, we got the crown jewel of Lamborghini's lineup, the dark orange Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. This is basically the final boss of naturally aspirated supercars. SVJ stands for Super Veloce Joda, which is Lamborghini's fancy way of saying they push the Aventador as far as physically possible. This machine makes over 770 horsepower from a naturally aspirated V12 engine. No turbos, no electric assist, just 12 screaming cylinders revving past 8,000 revolutions per minute and creating one of the craziest engine sounds ever heard. The SVJ uses active aerodynamics, meaning the wings and flaps adjust in real time for maximum downforce and stability. It also has four-wheel steering, so even the rear wheels help the car rotate through corners. And the whole body is made from carbon fiber to keep the weight low. This isn't just a supercar, it's basically a rolling science experiment. That dark orange paint is called Arancio Atlas, one of Lamborghini's most iconic colors. It's aggressive without looking cartoonish, loud without being over the top. Honestly, it's the perfect shade for what's basically a street-legal race car. The SVJ was also limited production, meaning Lamborghini only built a certain number before they disappeared instantly. Owning one puts you in a ridiculously exclusive club. This isn't just any Lamborghini. This is the Lamborghini, the final evolution of the Aventador before Lamborghini moved toward hybrid power. Is it practical in Utah? Absolutely not. This thing hates snow, rough roads, potholes, basically anything that isn't smooth pavement. But does YoungBoy care? Not even slightly. This is the car you pull out during perfect summer weather when you want to remind everybody exactly who you are. Second place for the Aventador SVJ. Automotive royalty, but there's still one machine crazier than this. Ranking number 1, the throne. Finally, number 1. The absolute king of NBA YoungBoy's collection. The vehicle that makes every other ride in his garage look normal. The Ripsaw EV3, aka the civilian super tank. Yeah, you heard that correctly. A tank. Well, technically it's classified as a high-performance track luxury vehicle, but let's be honest, this thing is basically a tank. And it might be the wildest purchase YoungBoy could have possibly made. The Ripsaw is built by Howe and Howe Technologies in the USA. It's not military issued and it doesn't come armed with guns or missiles. Civilian Ripsaws are completely weapon-free. But visually, it absolutely looks like something from a war zone. And it can go places that would destroy every other vehicle on this list. Instead of wheels, it runs on giant rubber tracks. That means snow, mud rocks, sand swamps, none of it matters. The suspension has massive travel, allowing it to absorb huge jumps and rough terrain without falling apart. Power comes from a high-output V8 engine with insane torque, letting it climb over obstacles that would stop regular vehicles instantly. And if you think something this massive would be slow, think again. The Ripsaw can hit around 50 to 60 miles per hour, which is ridiculously quick for a tracked vehicle. Most military tanks top out way slower than that. So this thing is fast, agile, and practically unstoppable. Honestly, the Ripsaw perfectly represents NBA YoungBoy's entire mentality. He never does anything halfway. He doesn't care about normal or expected. He wants the most extreme option possible, and he's got the money to make it happen. Now let me know in the comments if you could only pick one, which are you taking? The elegance of the Phantom? The raw insanity of the SVJ? Or are you going all out with the Ripsaw tank? Drop your choice below, October 6th, 2025. After nearly 4 years behind federal walls, Pooh Shiesty walked out of a halfway house, a free man. No huge celebration, no red carpet moment, just Memphis air and the weight of everything he built before it all got paused. And the first thing people wanted to know about? The cars. Because when you come from where Pooh Shiesty came from, South Memphis, Cane Creek Apartments, hand-me-down everything pulling up in a rose gold, Maybach isn't just a flex. It's a statement. Today, we're breaking down every car in Pooh Shiesty's garage. Where they came from, how much they cost, what they represent, and why they matter. Because for a kid from the south side of Memphis, these vehicles symbolize way more than money. And yeah, we're definitely talking about the rose gold too. Because that wasn't just a random color choice. That was a whole mindset. Let's get into it. To really understand the cars, you first gotta understand the man driving them. Memphis, Tennessee, one of the richest music cities in America, but also one of the most divided economically. Home to blues legends, soul icons, and a trap scene that's been active long before most people even knew what trap music was. 3-6 Mafia helped put the city on the map. Yo Gotti carried that torch. And somewhere inside the Cane Creek Apartments on the south side, a kid named Lantrell was soaking all of it in every beat, every lyric, every success story. Born November 8, 1999, Pooh Shiesty wasn't raised far from music. It was literally part of his bloodline. His father, known around Memphis as Mob Boss, was a rapper himself and started Mob Ties Records. So while other kids were just listening to music, little Lantrell was sitting in studios watching his dad work, seeing how lyrics became records, and how records could become an escape route. But the grind wasn't easy. It never is where he came from. The family moved to Pflugerville, Texas for a few years, a quiet suburb outside Austin that looked nothing like South Memphis. He had to adjust fast. New city, new environment, new people. Experiences like that either break you or sharpen you. For Shiesty, it built hunger. It gave him perspective. When his mother brought the family back to Memphis, Lantrell made a promise to himself. Finish school first, then go all in on music. He knocked out summer school and online classes to get his diploma. The second that was done, he grabbed a mic and never looked back. At 18 years old, the clock officially started ticking. He launched his own crew, Choppa Gang, and started freestyling everywhere. School, cafeterias, neighborhood corners, wherever people were willing to listen. Early tracks like Hell Night with his Day One brother, Big 30 Shiesty Summer, and Choppa Talk weren't polished industry records. They were raw. Memphis storytelling uploaded to YouTube and SoundCloud with no label backing, no machine behind them. Just him. And somehow they exploded. Shiesty Summer crossed 1 million views independently. Hell Night hit over 6 million. This wasn't industry marketing. This was real people connecting to real music. Because it felt authentic. Because it was authentic. Then came the moment that changed everything. April 2020. Gucci Mane, one of Atlanta trap music's most respected figures, slid into Pooh Shiesty's Instagram DMs after watching Mane Slime on YouTube. The message was simple. "What's up, homie? I'm listening to your music. You hard? You signed?" At first, Shiesty thought it was fake. Another spam page chasing clout? But it wasn't. The two ended up FaceTiming for hours, and by the end of that call, Pooh Shiesty was signed to 1,017 records under Atlantic Records. Just like that, the South Memphis kid from Cane Creek suddenly had a major label deal, one of rap's biggest cosigns, and a platform the whole country could finally see. And he wasted zero time. Back in Blood, featuring Lil Durk, dropped in 2020 and instantly became a cultural takeover. Platinum in under 4 months. Peaked at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. Number 1 on Apple Music across all genres. The video blew past 125 million YouTube views in less than 4 months. Then came the Beatbox remix with Spodum Got 'Em, which climbed to number 12 on the Hot 100, becoming the highest charting record of his career. By February 2021, Shiesty Season, his debut mixtape, debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on Billboard's Rap Albums chart. At just 21 years old, he had gone from zero to one of the top rappers in America in less than 3 years. But right when everything peaked, everything changed. In 2021, Pooh Shiesty got caught up in federal firearms conspiracy charges tied to a $22,000 shooting incident in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida. In January 2022, he pleaded guilty. A few months later in April, he was sentenced to 5 years and 3 months in federal prison. At 22 years old, right when his career was reaching another level, he disappeared from the spotlight. The cars stayed parked, the music paused. Memphis waited. Then October 2025 arrived. Nearly 4 years later, Pooh Shiesty stepped back out, and almost instantly the internet got a look at what had been sitting untouched while he was gone. His first Instagram story after release? A full walkthrough of the garage. No caption necessary. The camera slowly moved across 6 rose gold vehicles, every single one wrapped in the same metallic blush finish. A matching fleet so intentional and unique, it stopped social media cold. This wasn't random at all. This was a vision. You could even hear him saying, "She been collecting dust, man. We don't ride with no tags. I am CEO." And honestly, that's exactly how it felt, like a CEO returning to his company after being forced away. The business never stopped. The assets were still there. And now, the boss was back. So now, let's do what we came here for. 6 cars, 6 stories. 1 rose gold garage built straight out of South Memphis. We start here because this car carries the deepest history in the entire collection. Before the rose gold era, before the matching fleet, before the Maybach and all the luxury, there was the McLaren. And this car became famous for way more than performance specs. Think back to 2020. Pooh Shiesty was rising fast, riding around Florida in a lime green McLaren that was impossible to miss. The kind of car people remember seeing, the kind of car that eventually ends up mentioned in court documents, which it did. His own defense attorney even referenced the vehicle during federal filings, arguing that somebody driving a car worth over $200,000 wouldn't throw away everything over something petty. That lime green McLaren basically became a symbol of the entire era, the final peak before life completely shifted. Shiesty even referenced it in his music, rapping about his slimeball-coated McLaren and pushing it to its limits. Over time, the car became part of the mythology around him. Fast forward to the rose gold era and the McLaren got transformed too. Same attitude, different identity, now wrapped in that signature blush metallic finish to match the rest of the fleet. And McLaren itself builds some of the most technically advanced cars on Earth. British engineering, Formula One, influence carbon fiber all over the place. Depending on the exact model, whether it's a 570S, 720S, or GT, you're talking anywhere from $200,000 to well above $300,000. Mid-engine layouts, twin-turbo V8S pushing anywhere from 562 to over 700 horsepower, and a driving experience so raw, it makes most supercars feel soft. The McLaren in Pooh Shiesty's collection isn't just the most exciting car in the garage, it's the one that survived the entire story. That alone makes it the most important vehicle in the lineup. And if the McLaren is the most meaningful car in the garage, then the Mercedes Maybach S680 is easily the most expensive. Let's be clear, a Maybach is not just another Mercedes-Benz. The Maybach brand sits above the already ultra-luxurious S-Class and pushes everything to another level completely. Extended wheelbase rear entertainment screens, reclining rear seats that almost lay flat panoramic glass roof, and a handcrafted interior where every stitch is intentional. Then you add the twin-turbo V12 producing 621 horsepower, moving this massive luxury car with a silence and smoothness that almost feels unreal. A brand new Mercedes Maybach S680 already starts around $200,000. But Pooh Shiesty's version? The 2026 model reportedly touched the $500,000 range once fully spec'd out and wrapped. $500,000. And the reason he bought it makes the story even crazier. He picked it up after FTO hit #1 on Billboard's Hot R and B hip-hop songs chart following his release. Really think about that for a second. The man came home from federal prison, dropped a hit record, landed at #1, then celebrated by buying a rose gold $500,000 Maybach. Honestly, that might be one of the most Pooh Shiesty moves ever. The Maybach is the kind of car you buy once you move beyond rapper with money and enter a completely different category. This is old-world European luxury. Heads of state ride in these, Fortune 500 CEOs get chauffeured around in these. So, for a kid from South Memphis, public housing, to step into one at 25 years old, fresh off a federal sentence, that's one of the biggest flexes rap has seen in years. And of course, it's wrapped in rose gold. Every car collection tells a story. But not every car has a story quite like this next one. The Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk sitting in Pooh Shiesty's garage wasn't even purchased by him. It was a gift from Gucci Mane on Gucci's own birthday. Let that sink in for a second. On a night that was supposed to celebrate himself, Gucci Mane pulled up and surprised Pooh Shiesty with a Trackhawk. That level of loyalty in the music industry is rare. Most artists sign deals get some shine, and the relationship fades out eventually. But Gucci gifting his artist a supercharged SUV on his own birthday says everything about the connection between those two. Now, let's talk about the actual vehicle. Because the Trackhawk deserves respect on its own. The Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk is one of the most ridiculous SUVs America has ever produced. Jeep literally took a family SUV and stuffed a 707 horsepower supercharged 6, 2-liter Hemi 5, 8 under the hood, the same engine used in the Dodge Charger Hellcat. The result? An SUV that hits 0 to 60 inches around 3.5 seconds and runs quarter miles deep into the 1 second range. This thing can tow a boat and still embarrass sports cars at a stoplight. It's completely insane in the best way possible. New, these start around $90,000, and car people absolutely love them because they make no logical sense whatsoever. And wrapped in rose gold with that aggressive stance? This honestly might be the most underrated ride in the entire collection. The McLaren gets attention. The Maybach gets shock reactions. But the Trackhawk, the one Gucci Mane gifted him, carries emotional weight money can't buy. Now we get to the king of the SUV world, the Lamborghini Urus. If you want to talk about a vehicle that defined modern rap car culture, this is it. When Lamborghini first announced an SUV car, purists lost their minds. A Lamborghini SUV sounded completely wrong to them, like the company was abandoning its identity. Then people actually drove it and suddenly the criticism disappeared. Twin turbocharged 4.0-liter V8. 641 horsepower in standard trim. 0 to 60 inches, 3.5 seconds. Top speed over 190 miles per hour. And somehow, all of that performance lives inside an SUV with enough room for passengers and luggage. The base price sits around $230,000 before options, customizations, and definitely before that rose gold wrap, tying it into the rest of Pooh Shiesty's fleet. The Urus became the signature vehicle for a new generation of rappers. Not the Bugatti flex older artists chased. The Urus represents younger energy, faster movement, more aggression. It says, I made it, but I'm still outside moving. And for Pooh Shiesty, somebody whose entire image balances calculated focus with danger, the Urus fits perfectly. It's exotic without sacrificing practicality, a supercar you can actually live with daily. And in rose gold? It's easily one of the wildest looking SUVs you'll ever see anywhere. Now, here's where Pooh Shiesty's collection separates itself from almost everybody else's. He's not just buying the past, he's buying the future too. The Tesla Cybertruck. When Elon Musk first revealed the Cybertruck in 2019, the internet lost its mind. The thing looked straight out of a sci-fi movie. Sharp angles, flat steel panels, a body that looked unfinished on purpose. People either loved it instantly or thought it looked ridiculous. Then deliveries finally started happening, and suddenly, the jokes stopped. The dual-motor Cybertruck pushes around 600 horsepower and does 0 to 60 inches under 4.5 seconds. The tri-motor Cyberbeast version? Around 2.6 seconds. In a truck, with a stainless steel body reportedly strong enough to handle a 9mm round without penetrating certain panels. Pricing ranges from about $80,000 to over $100,000 depending on the version, and demand for them became absolutely insane with waiting lists stretching for years. Now here's the crazy part about wrapping a Cybertruck in rose gold. Technically, it shouldn't even work. The entire design philosophy was built around raw stainless steel. Wrapping it almost goes against the vehicle's whole identity. But that's exactly why it works for Pooh Shiesty. He takes something already impossible to ignore and pushes it even further. The rose gold Cybertruck basically says, I don't follow your rules for how things are supposed to look. And culturally, this might actually be the most important vehicle in the garage, timeline-wise. You don't buy a Cybertruck if you're stuck in the past. It represents the next chapter. And for somebody who just came home from prison, hit #1 on Billboard, and bought a $500,000 Maybach, that next chapter already looks completely different. 6 cars. All rose gold. All different. All very Pooh Shiesty. Now let's look at the actual numbers, because we want the real picture, not the exaggerated internet version. The McLaren. Conservatively around $200,000 to $300,000 depending on the model. The Maybach S 680. Reportedly around $500,000 fully built. The Trackhawk. Between $90,000 and $110,000. The Lamborghini Urus. Around $230,000 to $270,000. The Tesla Cybertruck. Roughly $80,000 to $100,000. And then every single one got professionally wrapped in rose gold vinyl, which alone can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 per vehicle depending on quality. Before custom rims, modifications, and performance upgrades, the entire collection realistically lands somewhere between $1.1 million and $1.3 million, maybe even higher. And honestly, that's not small at all. Before we close this out, we gotta talk about the rose gold itself, because none of this was accidental. Nothing about Pooh Shiesty's image happens randomly. Rose gold exists in a very specific lane. It's not black or white understated luxury. It's not loud chrome or flashy candy paint either. Rose gold feels warm, expensive, bold without screaming for attention. It's the color associated with high-end jewelry, specifically the type wealthy people wear when they don't need to prove they're rich anymore. So when somebody wraps their entire fleet in rose gold, they're making a deliberate statement. They're saying, everything in my world fits one vision. And that's the thing casual fans miss about Pooh Shiesty. He's not just a rapper who likes cars. He's curating an image. From the Shiesty mask becoming a fashion trend, before it turned into a meme to music videos that feel cinematic, to a garage filled with completely different vehicles. A British supercar, German luxury sedan, American SUV, Italian exotic, electric truck, all tied together through one visual theme. That's branding. That's somebody thinking bigger than just rap. And when you think like that, you're not just building a car collection. You're building an icon. Here's what most people overlook while counting the dollar signs in Pooh Shiesty's garage. These vehicles are basically a timeline of his life. The McLaren represents 2020, the lime green era, the breakout moment. Back in blood, the overnight success that actually took years of grinding behind the scenes. The same car referenced in federal court because people remembered it that vividly. The Trackhawk represents brotherhood, Gucci Mane's birthday surprise. A moment that cemented one of the strongest artist-mentor relationships in recent rap history. That vehicle wasn't bought, it was gifted. The Lamborghini Urus represents ambition, always wanting more, never staying comfortable, always chasing the next level. The Cybertruck represents the future proof that Pooh Shiesty isn't stuck looking backward, he's already focused on what comes next. And the Maybach? The $500,000 rose gold S 680 bought after scoring his first Billboard #1 post-prison? That's the final statement. That's the car saying, you couldn't stop me. Not prison, not the charges, not losing years of freedom. He came home, dropped a record hit #1, and pulled up to South Memphis in a $500,000 Maybach. That's the kind of flex that changes the conversation completely. Pooh Shiesty is only 25 years old. He's already done federal time, topped the Billboard charts, broke the internet with a rose gold garage reveal, and returned home to a city that never stopped supporting him. The fans stayed loyal. The streams kept running. The rose gold fleet stayed waiting. And now, the next chapter begins. Because the version of Pooh Shiesty that walked into prison and the version that walked out are two different people entirely. The focus is sharper now. The hunger is different. And the garage is still full. 6 rose gold vehicles. 6 chapters of a story that's still unfolding. That's not just a car collection. That's legacy with horsepower. By this point in the video, I already know y'all see where this is headed. What if I told y'all a kid from Baton Rouge went from having just $37 in his bank account to living however he wants, whenever he wants, while dropping millions on cars in only 3 years? FunnyMike's transformation from broke comedian to multi-millionaire is honestly insane. And the way this man spends his money and lives now is going to shock some of y'all. Y'all already know I always bring the craziest content on this app, so go ahead and subscribe and smash that like button because Viral Court File is the #1 spot for rap content. And stay until the end because I'm about to show y'all exactly how much money this man makes every single month. Yeah, I pocket watch. That's the only way I can bring y'all bangers like this. But first, let's talk about where he actually came from, because I can't even lie, FunnyMike's story is low-key wild. FunnyMike, real name MacArthur Johnson, grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, basically struggling from day one. Born in 1996, he was just another kid from the hood trying to figure life out. His childhood definitely wasn't sweet either. We talking about somebody who had to hustle early just to survive. Baton Rouge isn't exactly famous for handing out opportunities, and Mike understood pretty quickly he'd have to build his own lane. That's usually where legends come from, though. The struggle. But here's the crazy part. Even as a kid, Mike naturally knew how to make people laugh. This man could walk into any room and have everybody cracking up within minutes. Family and friends always knew he had something special, but nobody imagined that talent would eventually change his entire life. Now, before FunnyMike became the internet comedy king, this dude actually wanted to be a rapper. Seriously. Mike fully believed he was about to become the next big thing in rap. Problem was, nobody really took him seriously. He was writing weak bars trying to get his music heard by anybody willing to listen. And to be fair, he was genuinely grinding. Late nights in studios, local performances, trying every move young rappers usually make chasing a breakthrough. But the rap industry is ruthless. For every artist who blows up, there are thousands who never escape their hometown. Mike was putting the work in, but the momentum just wasn't hitting the way he wanted. Talent alone isn't enough in rap. You need timing, connections, and sometimes pure luck. And this is where everything changed. What if I told y'all FunnyMike's first viral moment came from impersonating 21 Savage? Yeah, seriously? So, while his rap career was struggling, Mike realized he had an insane talent for copying voices and mannerisms. One day, he dropped this ridiculously accurate 21 Savage impression and the internet completely lost it. Millions of views. Endless shares. Comment sections going crazy. People honestly couldn't believe how accurate it was. He nailed the voice, the facial expressions, the movements, everything. But the impersonation did more than just go viral. It opened doors. Suddenly, people in entertainment started paying attention to this young guy from Baton Rouge who could transform into celebrities almost perfectly. But if you think that's where the story stops, you're way off. Because this is where FunnyMike made the smartest move of his entire career. Instead of milking impersonations forever, Mike realized his real gift was comedy itself. He basically looked at the situation and said, "People naturally love laughing at my content. Why am I fighting what I'm already good at?" And once he pivoted into comedy full-time, everything exploded. Mike started making original skits, characters, and videos that had people crying, laughing. But what separated him from everybody else was the relatability. He wasn't just making random jokes. He understood everyday situations people go through and turned them into comedy gold. Within just a few months of fully locking into comedy, FunnyMike's following completely took off. We're talking hundreds of thousands of new followers, millions of views on videos and brand deals suddenly flooding in. But hold on, because this is where the money conversation gets really crazy. What if I told y'all that even during his early comedy days, FunnyMike was already making serious money? This man was earning more in his first year doing comedy than most people make, working 5 regular jobs. We're talking around $10,000 to $20,000 every single month just from social media, monetization, sponsored posts, and brand partnerships. For somebody who grew up with basically nothing, that kind of money changes everything. But here's what made Mike different. He wasn't just blowing the money carelessly. Instead of wasting it on random stuff, he reinvested into himself. Better equipment, stronger content, bigger production quality, and building his brand. And honestly, that's rare. A lot of young creators get their first big checks and immediately lose focus. Meanwhile, Mike's comedy skits kept getting bigger and bigger. Other influencers and celebrities started reaching out for collaborations, and every collab brought more exposure, more followers, and more money. And this is where things really go crazy. So, check this out. Mike realized that while Instagram and short-form content were helping him grow, YouTube was where the real money lived. This man basically said, "I'm about to dominate the biggest video platform in the world." And once he started taking YouTube seriously, it looked like a masterclass in content creation. He wasn't just posting random uploads anymore. He was building series, creating recurring characters, and slowly turning his page into a full-blown entertainment empire. His YouTube channel eventually started pulling millions of views on almost every upload. And y'all already know what that means: huge ad revenue. We're talking anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 per month from YouTube monetization alone. But the wild part is YouTube wasn't just paying him through ads. The platform opened doors for merchandise, exclusive sponsorships, and even his own product lines. And I'm not exaggerating when I say YouTube completely transformed FunnyMike from a successful content creator into a legitimate multi-millionaire. The man went from making thousands to making millions because he understood the power of long-form content before a lot of people did. But now let's talk about what he actually spends all this money on, because this part is insane. What if I told y'all FunnyMike's garage looks like a luxury dealership? On everything, this man's car collection is ridiculous. We're talking multiple Lamborghinis, and not entry-level ones either. Top-tier models costing more than most houses. His Lamborghini Urus alone is worth over $200,000. And that's only one vehicle in the garage. But wait, because it gets crazier. Mike also owns a McLaren that reportedly cost close to $300,000. This man collects supercars like people collect sneakers. And don't even start with the custom wraps and modifications. Every car has unique colors, upgraded interiors, and performance mods, adding tens of thousands more to the value. But honestly, when you're making millions, why not live like it? And to be fair, Mike earned every single one of those cars through pure hustle and consistency. Now, if y'all think the cars are expensive, wait until you hear about the jewelry. Let me explain something. FunnyMike doesn't shop with random jewelers. This man goes directly to Johnny Dang, one of the biggest celebrity jewelers in the world. For people who don't know, Johnny Dang is basically the jeweler for rappers, celebrities, and millionaires. We're talking custom pieces worth more than luxury vehicles. And FunnyMike is one of his regular clients. His chain collection alone is reportedly worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Custom pendants, diamond-covered watches, rings shining from across the room. This man's jewelry setup is completely insane. But here's what makes it even crazier. Mike doesn't buy jewelry just to flex. Every piece represents part of his journey, his success, and his brand. And honestly, that's smart branding when you really think about it. Johnny Dang has created custom pieces specifically for FunnyMike that literally don't exist anywhere else. One-of-one jewelry designed around his personality and career. But the spending definitely doesn't stop with cars and diamonds. What if I told y'all FunnyMike spends more on clothes in 1 month than some people make all year? No exaggeration. This man's wardrobe is probably worth more than some people's entire net worth. We're talking designer everything. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, Off-White. If it's expensive and exclusive, he probably owns it. His closet basically looks like a luxury boutique. But here's the insane part. Mike doesn't just buy regular designer clothes off shelves. He gets custom pieces, limited edition drops, and exclusive collaborations most people can't even access. And the sneaker collection alone could probably fund a small business. Rare Jordans, limited Yeezys, custom designer shoes worth thousands per pair. The whole thing is wild. This is what happens when somebody turns natural talent into a multi-million-dollar empire. And now let's talk about the vacation lifestyle, because this part is crazy too. Man, Julia packing the kids' suitcases right now? Aye, we headed to Volcano Bay, what up? So check this out. When FunnyMike takes vacations, he's not booking regular hotels. This man is renting luxury villas, flying private jets, and staying at exclusive resorts costing more per night than most people's monthly rent. We're talking $10,000 a night stays, private chefs, security teams, and experiences regular people usually only see online. His vacation pictures literally look like scenes from movies. But here's what's actually genius about it. These trips aren't just vacations. They're business moves too. Even while relaxing, Mike is creating content, filming videos, posting photos, and continuing to grow his brand. That's elite-level business thinking. His trips to places like Dubai, Los Angeles, and Miami aren't just about spending money. They're investments into his image and brand, and they keep bringing more engagement followers and opportunities. But let's really paint the full picture of how drastically his life changed. What if I told y'all FunnyMike went from sharing tiny apartments to owning multiple luxury homes? This transformation is honestly mind-blowing. His main house looks like something straight out of a celebrity magazine. Multiple bedrooms, a private movie theater, professional recording studios, and luxury features most people only dream about having. But it's bigger than material things too. Mike's entire day-to-day life completely changed. He went from stressing over bills to having teams of people helping manage his growing empire. Personal trainers, assistants, chefs, managers, accountants. This man literally has staff helping him maintain and expand his wealth. And when you remember where he started, that's actually crazy. Even his social circle evolved. He's connected with millionaire creators, celebrities, and major business figures now. And honestly, those networking opportunities alone can create millions more over time. But here's the craziest thing about FunnyMike's current position. Let me break this down one last time. FunnyMike isn't just rich anymore. He built a real business empire that keeps growing every day. His YouTube channels pull millions of views monthly, his merchandise constantly sells out, and his sponsorship deals are worth more than most people's yearly salaries. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar machine built from absolutely nothing. And the wildest part? He's still hungry. Even with all this success, he keeps creating content, chasing new opportunities, and finding fresh ways to connect with his audience. His impact goes way beyond entertainment now. He's inspiring young creators, proving people from similar backgrounds can become successful too, and showing what happens when talent meets hard work. And that's how FunnyMike went from a struggling kid in Baton Rouge to living a multi-millionaire lifestyle most people only dream about. From failed rap ambitions to internet comedy gold. From impersonating 21 Savage to building an empire of his own, this whole journey is honestly insane. But if y'all learned something new about FunnyMike's lifestyle, make sure you hit that like button and tell me in the comments which part shocked you the most. And if y'all want more videos breaking down how rappers and creators built their empires from nothing, subscribe now because the next stories coming are absolutely wild. I'll catch y'all in the next one where we break down another creator's rise from broke to multimillionaire. Peace. Glock owns more than 16 vehicles, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, a Rolls-Royce Dawn, a Lamborghini Urus with butterfly doors, 2 McLarens, a Ferrari Puro Sang, 3 Mercedes Maybachs, a Dodge Durango SRT, Hellcat a Dodge SRT, Demon a Corvette C, 8 Stingray, a Tesla Cybertruck, 1,996 Chevy Impala SS, sitting on 2 4-inch IRC rims, a Dodge Ram TRX, and the car that started everything. A Mercedes SL 550, personally gifted to him by young Dolph before Dolph passed away. That's more than 16 vehicles total. And the entire collection is now estimated somewhere between $4 million and $5 million. Now, think about this for a second. We're talking about somebody from South Memphis. Somebody raised mainly by his grandmother and aunt while his mother was in federal prison, and now he owns a garage worth more money than most people will see in their entire lives. But here's what really separates this collection from every other rapper garage out there. It's not only about money. Glock built his entire identity around the color yellow, wrapped his whole fleet in it, named albums after it, turned it into a full-blown brand. Then, right when everybody thought they understood the aesthetic, he switched everything into something called Mystic Chrome, a color-shifting chameleon wrap that changes shades depending on lighting and angles. He didn't just buy vehicles. He created an entire world around them, then rebuilt the whole thing again. And honestly, this might be the most intentional, calculated, and visually insane car collection in hip-hop right now. We're going car by car, story by story, because there are layers to this collection people seriously are not talking about. And y'all need to hear this. To understand why a $4 to $5 million garage hits differently coming from Glock, you first have to understand where he came from and what he was chasing before the Rolls-Royces and Ferraris ever entered the picture. Glock, born Markivius Lashin Cathy on August 3, 1997, came from South Memphis, Tennessee. Not the tourist side of Memphis. Not Beale Street. Real South Memphis. The kind of environment that shapes you whether you want it to or not. The kind of place that forces people to figure life out early. He grew up listening to Gucci Mane, Lil Wayne, 3 6 Mafia, and Project Pat, the architects of Southern street rap. Artists who turned real-life struggles into legendary music. And honestly, that DNA is visible in everything Glock does, including the way he approaches cars. Now here's something a lot of casual fans don't know. Glock was raised mainly by his grandmother and aunt because his mother spent most of his childhood in federal prison. Let that really sink in. While other kids had both parents around, Glock was learning how to survive with the family he had in one of America's toughest cities. And that backstory matters when you see him step out of a $400,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Because at that point, it's bigger than a flex. It's distance between who he used to be and who he became. Back in 2016, Glock dropped his first mixtape, Whole Lotta Everything. Raw Memphis music with almost no budget behind it. But the real turning point came in 2017 when his cousin young Dolph, born Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., signed him to Paper Route Empire. And this is where the yellow story really begins. Dolph already carried a very specific energy in rap. Independent, flashy, self-made, unapologetic. Glock studied that carefully. But instead of copying Dolph directly, he built his own version of that same confidence. And his version became yellow, every shade of it. His 2017 mixtape Glock Season got attention fast. Then, his debut studio album Yellow Tape in 2020 peaked at number 14 on the Billboard 200 and eventually went gold. Yellow Tape 2 in 2021 climbed even higher, peaking at number 7. And if you're wondering why he called the project Yellow Tape, Glock actually explained it pretty simply in interviews. The yellow tape? What do you see? Caution, or that feeling that something is always going on or about to go down. That's the mindset. Yellow isn't just a color. Yellow is a warning. Yellow is a statement. Yellow is, pay attention, something is happening. And when you see millions worth of machinery rolling down the street, gang, something is definitely happening. Now let's break down the actual fleet, because this is where it really gets insane. Each one of these cars tells its own story. Together, they build the full picture. As of mid-2026, we're talking 16-plus vehicles across every category: supercars, luxury SUVs, sedans, convertibles, muscle, American classics, and electric. Let's run through all of them. The Mercedes SL 550, where it all started. Before we even touch the Rolls-Royces and McLarens, we begin here, the Mercedes SL 550. This is the car young Dolph gifted to Key Glock. His cousin, his mentor, the man who signed him, believed in him, put him on, and then was taken in November 2021 after being shot and killed in broad daylight in Memphis. The SL 550 is a luxury Grand Tour convertible. Not the fastest, not the most expensive, not the flashiest, but arguably the most important. It carries the most weight. Every time Glock walks past it in his garage, it's a reminder of where he came from and who put him there. No McLaren or Ferrari can replace what it represents. It's sacred. And the fact it's still in the collection, never sold, never traded, never upgraded, says everything about Key Glock. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan, the crown jewel. Now we talk crown jewel. Key Glock owns a Rolls-Royce Cullinan custom yellow paint sitting on black Forgiato wheels. The most luxurious production SUV in the world. Built for heads of state and billionaires, now wrapped in loud yellow with aftermarket forged wheels. The Cullinan runs a 675 LV12, producing 563 horsepower and 850 Newton-meters of torque. Base price, north of $350,000. With the custom finish and Forgiatos, it's pushing close to $400,000 for a single vehicle. But here's what makes it heavier. After Dolph was killed, Key Glock posted a tribute in yellow standing next to this exact Cullinan. That image spread everywhere. It became grief, loyalty, and legacy, all in one frame. The Cullinan isn't just the most expensive car here, it's the most meaningful, publicly. The Rolls-Royce Dawn blue in the fleet. People overlook this one, but it matters. The Rolls-Royce Dawn, a blue luxury convertible. In a garage defined by yellow, that blue stands out. And that's intentional. It shows range. The Dawn is widely considered one of the most beautiful convertibles ever made. A soft top that closes whisper quiet in about 22 seconds, powered by a twin-turbo V12 producing 563 horsepower. Base price around $400,000. Two Rolls-Royces, two different energy, same level of luxury. That's not random, that's a collector evolving. The Lamborghini Urus speed meets statement. The Lamborghini Urus. What happens when Lamborghini builds an SUV? A 4.0L twin-turbo V8 with 657 horsepower, 0-60 inches around 3.5 seconds. Faster than most sports cars in SUV form. Glock's Urus features butterfly doors added through modifications, something that instantly turns heads anywhere it goes. It's also been through Mystic Chrome and Gold Wheel upgrades. It started yellow, evolved, changed form again and again. Just like his career phases. That's not accidental. That's progression mirrored in metal. The McLaren 720 spaceship. Now we're into weapon territory. The McLaren 720S Glock calls it the spaceship, and honestly, he's not wrong. 4.0L twin-turbo V8, 710 horsepower, 0-60 inches, 2.7 seconds, top speed, 212 miles per hour. Formula 1, influenced aerodynamics, one of the most advanced supercars ever built. His 720S comes in Mystic Chrome with a full purple interior. Purple inside, chrome outside. A color-shifting finish that changes depending on light green, gold, blue, purple all at once. This isn't just a car. It looks like it's moving even when it's parked. And it sits right next to a Rolls-Royce. The McLaren 650S Spider, the original staple. Two McLarens, because why stop at one? The 650S Spider is the earlier McLaren in the collection. 3. 8L Twin Turbo V. 8 641 horsepower, 0-60 inches, 2.9 seconds. Dihedral doors that lift upward. This is from his yellow Aretha building phase when everything was being established. Now it sits beside the 720S, past and present side by side. The Ferrari Puro Sanguetta new money statement. This is where it gets serious. Glock owns a Ferrari Puro Sang in yellow. Ferrari's first four-door, four-seat vehicle, and the industry went crazy when it dropped. Naturally, aspirated 6, 5, L, V, 12, producing 715 horsepower. Ferrari's answer to luxury practicality without losing performance. Base price around $400,000. And of course, it's yellow. Adding Ferrari into this lineup signals something bigger. He's not just in the regional rapper car lane. He stepped into global supercar territory. The Puro Sang is the kind of car old money buys. The fact he has it at this stage in his life says a lot. The Dodge SRT Demon the Dangerous One. The Dodge SRT Demon finished in Mystic Chrome. And this one is serious. This car was so fast it got banned from NHRA drag strips. 0-60 inches, 2.3 seconds on a prepped surface. Came with a demon crate of parts. Even shipped without a passenger seat in its base form. Power ranges from 808 to 840 horsepower, depending on fuel. Now imagine that wrapped in Mystic Chrome in South Memphis. That's not just a car. That's an event. The Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat the Memphis Special. 3-row SUV. Supercharged 6. 2L Hemi V8. 710 horsepower. Seats 7 people. And still behaves like a muscle car. Finished in Mystic Chrome, it's loud, aggressive, and oversized in every way. Parked next to Ferraris and Rolls-Royces, it still holds its own. That's Memphis. Energy power is power, no matter the badge. The 1996 Chevy Impala SS the centerpiece. This is where you stop and pay attention. Because this car says the most. A 1996 Chevrolet Impala SS. Custom Mystic Chrome finish. 2 4-inch IROC rims. Mid 90S American muscle. Deep Southern culture. Memphis culture specifically. It doesn't have Ferrari speed or Rolls-Royce luxury, but it sits right in the middle of everything. That's the point. No matter how far the collection goes, this stays. That's identity. The Corvette C8 Stingray White. With red interior. Mid-engine Corvette for the first time in history. Truly, world-class performance. 0-60 inches under 3 seconds, 6. 2 LV8 layout. Glock's version is white, with a red interior different from the yellow theme showing range. The most accessible supercar here, but visually still a standout. The Mercedes Maybach S600 yellow sedan on Forgas. Ultra-luxury sedan 6. 0 LV12. Producing 530 horsepower. Around $200,000 base. Finished in yellow with 2 2-inch Forgiatos. Even the quiet car in this garage is loud. The Mercedes Maybach GLS 600 the SUV Maybach. 4. 0. L Twin Turbo V. 8. 557 horsepower, 0-60 inches. 4.9 seconds. Ultra. This is the floating experience. Silence, comfort, isolation, at speed. Pure comfort, cruising. The Mercedes Maybach SL 680 Roadster. 2-seater V12 Roadster, 621 horsepower. One of the rarest Maybach models. A deeper commitment to the brand. Not just collecting, building a relationship with it. 1. Maybach is flex. 2. is pattern. 3. is lifestyle. The Mercedes AMG GLE 63, the reliable one. Older AMG SUV. Over 600 horsepower. In this garage, it's basically the daily driver. Not bought for attention. Kept because it works. That says more than the exotic cars. The Dodge Ram 1500 TRX the truck. 702 horsepower supercharged pickup. 0-60 inches, 4.5 seconds. A work truck that humiliates sports cars. Finished in Mystic Chrome. Utility, but extreme. The Tesla Cybertruck the wild card. Custom bright yellow Cybertruck. Pulled up at his ATL birthday bash and broke the internet. Hardest body to wrap yet done in yellow anyway. Used in music visuals too. It became more than a car. It became content branding and rollout all in one. And here's the real point most people miss. The fleet isn't just flexing. The yellow is a narrative. When Key Glock named his debut album Yellow Tape and said, "Yellow Tape means something is about to happen, something is going on, pay attention," he wasn't just naming an album, he was defining an identity. And then he backed it up by making everything around him yellow: the cars, the clothes, the whole aesthetic. He matched his jacket to the Cullinan. He matched his shoes to his Forgiato wheels. Even when he wore the North Face X Gucci blue union suit, it wasn't random, it was contrast on purpose, designed to make the yellow stand out even more. This wasn't coincidence. This is a man treating branding like a major label rollout. Every post with a yellow car wasn't just content, it was reinforcement. The color and the artist became inseparable. But here's where it takes a turn. Around late 2024 into 2025, Key Glock started shifting the entire collection. Car by car, he began transitioning from yellow into Mystic Chromea, color-shifting finish that flips depending on light. Purple, green, gold, blue, all in one paint job. The Urus got it. The Demon got it. The Durango got it. The TRX got it. Even the Impala got it. Social media caught every update, and once again, the internet went into a frenzy. Because think about it, from a branding angle, yellow was his identity. He built it over years. And instead of abandoning it, he evolved it. He didn't erase yellow, he expanded it. Some of the fleet is still fully yellow. The Cullinan remains yellow, the Ferrari stays yellow, even the Cybertruck still carries that signature wrap. But now there's a second visual layer added on top of it. It sends a clear message. I'm still changing, still growing, still not predictable. That's not just a car decision, that's an artistic statement. Yellow Tape was chapter 1. Mystic Chrome looks like chapter 2. And the music lines up with it too. Yellow Tape 2 peaked at number 7 on the Billboard 200. Ambition for Cash went multi-platinum. In 2023, Let's Go hit the Billboard Hot 100, and a remix featuring the late Young Dolph's vocals pushed it to number 59. The cars and the music are telling the same story, one man expanding everything without losing his origin. Now, connect the numbers, because this fleet is not small money. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan with customization sits around $380K to $400K. The Rolls-Royce Dawn roughly the same range. The Ferrari Purosangue pushes $400K to $450K. The McLaren 720S in Mystic Chrome is about $300K to $350K. The McLaren 650S Spider sits around $150K to $200K. The Lamborghini Urus with mods? Around $280K to $320K. The Maybach SL 680 lands near $250K to $300K. The Maybach S600 build is about $200K to $220K. The GLS 600 sits near $200K. The AMG GLE 63 is around $130K to $140K. The Dodge Demon in Chrome build? About $100K to $120K. The Durango SRT Hellcat around $80K to $90K. The TRX sits near $90K to $100K. The Corvette C8 convertible is about $70K to $80K. The Cybertruck with custom wrap hits $80K to $100K. The 1996 Impala SS build ranges $40K to $80K. The SL 550 gifted by Young Dolph sits around $60K to $80K. And that's before extras. Forgiato wheels alone run $10K to $30K per set. Mystic Chrome wraps? Around $10K to $20K per vehicle. Add butterfly door kits, interior custom work, and upkeep across 17 exotics, and you're looking at another $200K to $400K easily. Conservatively, the full fleet lands between $4 million and $5 million as of early 2026. And remember, his earlier fleet was already valued around $1.8 million. He didn't just build it once, he doubled it. This isn't a collector who stopped after success. This is someone actively scaling the entire collection like a living project. Then he started putting it into the culture. Paper Route Empire announced the Love for the Streets car show, Let's Go Edition, hosted by Key Glock and DJ Envy, featuring vehicles from Young Dolph, Key Glock, and DJ Envy, open to fans across the city. The event was rescheduled to May 25, 2025, and even included a brand new Tesla Model Y custom painted in Glock yellow as a giveaway. He didn't keep the fleet locked away, he turned it into a public experience. That's not just flexing, that's legacy building. When the full fleet started circulating online, the internet couldn't process it. Clips, photos, and posts of car after car, yellow, chrome, luxury, muscle, all of it spread everywhere. Car culture channels went crazy over the Cullinan and McLaren. Hip-hop pages focused on the total value. Memphis locals took pride in seeing one of their own living at that level so young. TikTok clips of the yellow Cybertruck pulled tens of thousands of likes in hours. 4G auto posts of the Cullinan were everywhere. But the conversation wasn't just about money. It was about consistency. Comments started sounding like, "He really committed to the yellow thing. This is actually genius branding." Even hardcore car enthusiasts, usually critical of rap car culture, acknowledged the Cullinan spec was tastefully done. Hip-hop fans began connecting the cars back to the albums, and new listeners discovered Key Glock through the visuals alone. Then came the Cybertruck moment. At his Atlanta birthday bash, he pulled up in a fully yellow-wrapped Cybertruck. The internet split instantly, debates, reactions, opinions, but it became unavoidable content. Over 19,000 likes on TikTok alone, and countless reposts. He didn't just own the car, he turned it into a moment. That's the difference between having money and knowing how to use it. Then the Mystic Chrome era dropped and everything reset again. The Urus transformation, the demon rolling out in color shift chrome, the Impala looking almost unreal under light changes. Suddenly, the Key Glock equals yellow only narrative didn't hold anymore. Now the comments flipped. He's not who I thought he was, and this might be even harder than the yellow era. Because when an artist can rebrand themselves in a way that feels like evolution, not contradiction, that's control. That's what the chrome shift represented. At that point, the fleet wasn't just luxury anymore. It was functioning as a system: marketing, storytelling, identity, and introduction all in one. You see the Cullinan. You ask questions. You find the name. You hear the music. And you're already inside the world. That's the pipeline.